Ria and fellow cosmate. Just to make sure that you can hear my voice, Doctor, is my voice clear?
Yes, very clear.
Okay.
Very clear.
So let me begin. Today, we are the first group to present today for the case study one. Will the real customer please stand up? So our group members will be me, myself, Tin Muli Sadasivam, Mr. Lim Tochun, and Mr. Bala Awal.
Okay, so good afternoon, Doctor and my fellow colleagues. As you heard from our colleagues that our case study is in our case study, we are to summarize Billy's story. First one, I'm the one to summarize the bread story. So according to our case study, Fred worked as a salesman in an appliance store. He made an effort to assist customers in selecting the appropriate appliances for their home. He also proud of his ability to ask appropriate questions. The sale is the yardstick for success for him. He feels pleased when he has identified the perfect equipment for his customer. When Fred make a sale, he feels good, and when he find the perfect appliances for his customer, he feels even better. The next summary will be read by my colleagues.
Okay, thank you, Kambaza. So, to the second story is about Mike. Mike is a seventh grade student and he always listens to what his teacher wants and try to work hard to best meet their requests. However, sometimes the teachers were unable to provide clear instructions of what they want. Mike prides himself on his ability to find out just what the teachers want. On the other hand, Mike also doesn't want the teachers to get angry or disappointed with him if he hasn't done what they expect. In addition, he always follows exactly what the teachers want and didn't think of ways to perform the task more creatively or even beyond the teacher's expectation. His intention is just to please the teachers by getting good grades and he is very happy about it.
Okay, now I'm going to summarize a little bit of the scenario 3, which is the story 3 in this case study. So it's about the story of Gretchen. Gretchen, she's a science teacher. She'll always listen to her students' needs and discover methods to best meet their learning purposes. So she observes students' strengths and weaknesses in order to provide advice and help to students accordingly. But as most of us here, we are all teachers, right? Most of us, I mean, and then we are also a human being. So we can't, we are not a superhero to know everything in all the aspects. So it actually happened to Gretchen as well. So sometimes she couldn't identify each individual student needs, but her abilities and experiences could prompt her to perceive those needs. So Gretchen aims to assist students for achieving a successful life. She is embracing by the satisfaction when students demonstrate learning and have a great motivation in the learning process. So this is a process to engage children with the inspiration throughout their lifelong learning journey. So I think everyone has some ideas on the 3 stories in this case study. So before I move forward to the discussion outcomes, let's have a quick look at the 3 questions here. The first question for this case study would be, who are the customers in your school? How can you tell? Discuss the different missions and visions in this story and how they affect actions. The last question would be, in Mike's school, the measure is grade. In Gretchen's school, the measure is demonstrated learning. So what gets measured in your school? So in this case study, the concept is about developing a customer orientation, aiming at a clear mission and vision, and rethinking the ranking and grading, and promoting pride in work. So my friend Tamoli is going to address for the question number 1.
Okay, thanks, Lim. So let me begin with the definition of customer. Who are customers? Okay, obviously, it's a person who buys things or product or services from another person, or can be a shop or business. Okay, in my opinion, any organization is unable to operate or sustain long without customers. Okay, the same situation applies to school. A school will be unable to function or operate without their customers. So, who are the customers in school? So, it can be simply divided into internal and external. So, based on our discussion, obviously, students, the teachers, or the support staff will be the internal customers, whereby students who are maybe the alumni, parents, and stakeholders can be the government bodies, will be the external customers. So, among all those customers, we have concluded that the most prominent customer will be the students. Even though it's risky to view students as customers, but given the current atmosphere, students are the most frequent customers. So they are the most frequent customers who communicate with the teachers or school, okay, who are the service providers, and to acquire learning and guidance from them. So relating to my opinion just now, in the current competitive education environment, in order to improve retention and fidelity rates in schools and to sustain the service, the school should maintain the students' satisfaction, okay, of the quality of the qualification and the quality of the institution's school's quality. However, there are also other determinants of service quality. For example, like tangibility, reliability, responsiveness, competence, access, courtesy, communication, credibility, security, and understanding. This one we have found out from one of from the scholars who called Parasuram, Zetamil, and Berry in 1985. You can refer to the in the reference part later. So these are the determinants to contribute the satisfaction of the students or any type of services so that they could sustain in the educational field. So that's all from me. Thank you.
Uh, Thank you again. I'm here to address the question number 2, which says discuss the different mission and vision in the story and how they affect action. If you can remember, we have give you the 3 story, scenario 1, scenario 2. So in these 3 stories, there is visions and mission. But before seeing that, let us understand the dimensions of vision and mission. So when we say vision and mission, these are 2 words that we can use it interchangeably. Each one of them, they are going hand in hand. They are together. They can use interchangeably. So, but there are some little differences. When we say vision, vision focus on tomorrow and what school organization want to become. The mission focus on today's and what organization does. So in the 3 story we read, so each story has a vision and mission and how it can affect action. Let us go start with story number 1. That is to provide good service to the customer by meeting their expectation. So how can this affect action? If Fred fail to serve the customer very well, definitely it will against it will be it will be bad to him because the customers will run away from his store. So in that, Fred has to do all he can do in order to satisfy the need of his customer. Then the second story, we'll see to please the teachers by meeting their need by passing the examinations and completing the homework. If you could remember, teachers are the implementers of the curriculum. So since they are the implementers of the curriculum, their need and expectation must be met for them to have a chance of carrying out their activities with sincerity. Then in our story 2, uh, uh, we learned that providing students what they need for successful life. Students are the major target in educational setting because all the activities in the school setting is mainly focused on the student need. So student need must be addressed. All the necessary learning material and equipment required for education should be given to the student for them to have comfortability in learning and to achieve the learning objectives. My Fatina, thank you. My Fatina will address the second question. Thank you.
Okay, I think everyone, let us recall a bit. As what we mentioned in the summary of stories just now, Mike School is measured by grades, and Gretchen School, the measure is demonstrated learning. So what gets measured in my school? So today I'm going to elaborate on this question by sharing a little bit of my personal experience from my teaching career. So in the school that I teach, the measurement on grade is highly required as every student need to achieve certain results in order to continue the curriculum in the following years. So students and teachers are endeavoring lots of effort to achieve this objective. So students, they actually have the responsibilities to possess a good learning attitudes and behaviors during the process of learning. So it could be reflected to the Drucker. So Drucker is the author of the Drucker lectures. So there's one quote that he mentioned in the book. The most important thing to learn in school is how to learn. It's a habit of continuous learning. So although my school, the emphasis on the grades, but however, by measuring on grades, the aim is not to please or satisfy teachers or others. Because at the case in this case study, the story number 2, we talk about the Mike school. Their measurement is on grades, but the aim is to please teacher. So this is what I want to mention to differentiate between my school and the Mike school. So it's actually more about students who take the initiative to acquire knowledge rather than just want to please teacher or parents. On the other hand, my school demonstrates learning intensively. On top of that, we provide opportunities or activities, both internal and external, indoor and outdoor, for students to innovate, create, and explore themselves from different dimensions. We aim to diversity cultivate students. So in my opinion, both approaches share the same weight in the school in order to establish student development and to build the strengths or abilities of students in order for them to adapt to the vibrancies of the world and to broaden their horizons. Learning is individual and learning builds on what we are good at. This is another quote from Jacob. So I think we as an educator or teachers or who work in the educational institution should always keep in mind that yeah, learning is individual, but learning is built on what we are good at. So based on the case study, we actually have some proposal. So 3 of us, after the discussion, we propose the below. The first is both grades and learnings are essentially acquired in the school to establish students' development, as in building up strengths and abilities for adapting the global vibrancies.
Yeah, we also propose that managers in business organizations should employ experts in their organization. Then in school, teachers should carry out their duties with justice and sincerity. And apart of students, students should concentrate well in their studies.
Okay,
Yeah.
the next proposal will be education is a lifelong learning process whereby the students acquire skills and competences in formal and non-formal learning settings throughout the entire lifespan. Okay, based on our discussion, So what are we like to know more about? So the first question will be, what are the roles of teachers or leaders in motivating students to think out of the box or creatively and understand that learning is a lifelong process?
We also want to know what are the best way to achieve desirable missions and visions in educational institutions.
And the last issues that we would like to know more is about is regarding in what extent should educator ensure his or her teaching methodology comprehensively benefit to students as well as align with the quality as a service provider. So the quality education has actually become quite a common topic in this modern era. So when we're talking about quality education, it's actually correlated to the quality management in a way. So when we're talking about quality, is somehow mostly related to link to the customer orientation, right? So when we talk about customer, then we need to talk about the customer satisfactions, and then what they are looking for and what they are expect to have or to obtain from this organization, from these institutions, and as well as this service provider. So, and then for the school, it's also very important to set or to determine the mission and vision precisely, and also set the objective, the direction of school development in a more concrete way. And also promoting pride in work and continuous learning from student and teacher perspective. So to achieve like all these criteria or so-called issues that we mentioned, we hope hopefully one day we can really reach to the so-called quality of education. So here are the list of the references that we use for our presentation. So you may have a look at it. And then I think our presentation come to the end. So if Dr. Doria or any of my fellow coursemate, if you have any question, please feel free to ask. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you,
Group
everyone.
1. Thank you so much for the presentation. Let me stop recording.